Jude and Scott, the couple I'm helping hire a wedding planner, and it was Baxter Ward. You inserted as much thrill and intrigue as possible into the rush statement. Her answer was a single flat word. Who? Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. My name is Death by Pony and today we're hopping right back in to our life. So without further ado, let's go. Miranda gasped. Terry shouted. Yeah. Baxter? Baxter is his name, yep. How do you know this dude? The pointed question was shot your way. He corrected himself, lifting a hand to assure you it was fine to forget it.
Hey.
How do you know my little sister? Jude newly directed the interrogation towards who he considered to be the real problem. Baxter stared into your face. He breathed deeply and steadily. It became disconcertingly quiet after the initial explosive reaction. The sound of other guests chattering over their meals, clinking to silverware, shelving, bustling around, it all vanished. Were other people even still in the room? It was impossible to tell. You couldn't even move your chin to check. Then the moment passed. Baxter grinned wide and ran his hand down the silky edges of his jacket to smooth it out. A familiar gesture of calming his nerves.
Life is full of unexpected coincidences,
As you might vaguely remember, my name is Baxter Ward. With a casual flip of his ribs, Baxter gave a brief account of your shared history. 5 years ago, I stayed in Sunset Bird for a summer vacation and a semester off college. We spent a bit of time together then. By we, I mean the three of you, along with the other. Cove was his name, I believe.
I apologize.
Now, in the hopes of starting off on the right foot, let me apologize for my younger self. I was embarrassingly immature in how I handled our acquaintanceship.
I understand.
I understand entirely if this is awkward. Just know that I am open to any ideas on how to accommodate working together and fully committed to assuring that Mr. Eckert and Mr. Adam have a wonderful wedding. That is the only reason I am here.
Huh.
It was certainly a revelation for the betrothed. Every person they've enlisted to help with the wedding were part of someone's past social group. Is there a problem with this? Terry, Miranda, James. They attempted to promote a response from all of you. The others, normally happy couple in the group, shared uneasy glances. It's not like Baxter did anything to me, but...
Is that all right?
Well, it's nice of you to say it, though. Baxter Ward's attempt to ward off potential discomfort managed to have a complete opposite effect. He was apologizing for nothing. You had all known he was there for that trip and then he'd go home. No one had been surprised. But you could get why he'd feel bashful about how he acted in hindsight, especially now that he was here as a working professional. It seems like a good time for a fresh start. Apology accepted. Hey, don't be so worried, it's fine. I don't really care. Offered an encouraging smile. You gave a shrug. That didn't matter. Seems like a good time for a fresh start.
I appreciate the understanding.
I appreciate that. You didn't doubt how grateful he was to be let bygones be bygones, even if his smile couldn't reach his eyes. Terry and Randy brightened properly, and that had the domino effect of putting relief smiles on their faces. Jude and Scott as well. The mood was salvaged. Here. Baxter coyly moved the conversation along. The sooner the topic had nothing to do with his personal life, the better. I've got business cards for you. It's a way to contact me, email, phone, the usual. Baxter didn't attempt to pass them out directly. Instead, delicately placed a stack of cards on the table. They were such a stark white fancy cloth they rested on looked dingy. Sleek black cursive writing printed across their font, very formal. Next, Baxter retrieved a sleek black phone from his pocket. Black and white cards and a black phone. It could have been a coincidence. Those colors choices normally express lack of interest in displaying any personality, especially with businessmen. Yet, a part of you wondered if it was a reference to the unique way he'd utilized those shades in the past.
What do you think?
If possible, I could use your phone numbers. That will be useful for keeping everyone informed. There's a group chat for the wedding planning. I won't text you privately. You got it, boss. For the second time, Terry, and the first for Miranda, numbers were exchanged with Baxter. Thank you. You told him your number. You shared it reluctantly. My number is the same. You should have already have it. You mentioned it casually. We give him the number. We're not being hostile. We're not holding it against him, alright? It's been years. That was fine. He tapped away at the screen. You listed off the sequence before returning the phone into his side jacket.
Settled.
Thank you for your cooperation. It's settled. One final black and white object appeared from Baxter's pocket, his wallet, which held a green $10 bill, which he put next to the business cards. Please use this for my coffee. I'll take my leave.
Wait.
You're going? We haven't even ordered. I don't want to intrude on a meal between friends and family. We've met. He tugged his collar over that understatement. Exchanging numbers, and the first official planning meeting was arranged before the others arrived. I'll leave you to catch up and discuss the next steps on your own terms. I'll see some, or perhaps all of you soon.
Take care.
Have a nice evening. After a polite incline of his head, Baxter slipped out of the corner through a gap in the crowd. In only a matter of seconds, he was gone again. You almost couldn't believe you had hallucinated the entire encounter. The floral scent that lingered behind was in your mind. That money could have come from anywhere. Maybe Mr. Holden had been nearby. That was easier to wrap your head around than the actual reality, except for the piece of undeniable proof. He left business cards. As it said printed in black ink, Baxter Ward, wedding planner, was a real entity. Miranda and Terry both took one each for the future reference or idle curiosity. You'd eventually deleted his number. You kept his number saved even after 5 years. I have numbers from high school that I don't use. I never clear out my phone. So, intentionally saving the number? No. But did I forget I had it? Yes. Did he have a new number those days? You peered down at the little piece of cardstock. You picked it up. It was something of his. You took the card and checked the number. It would be rude not to take what he gave you, so you did. You left the cards unclaimed. Check the number. All right, before our plans, tell me about the planner. What's the story? He's an old friend that we haven't kept in touch. He's a funny guy. Baxter's wonderful. You're lucky to have found him. He was my neighbor for a little while. He merely mumbled something inaudible. You glanced towards Terry and Randy. Baxter is wonderful. You're lucky to have found him. It's been 5 years since I've last seen him. Yep. Baxter was this rich guy who showed up on James Street. Then he vanished. Nobody knew what happened to him. Terry, he went back to college.
No way.
Nobody knows. The ridiculous insistence got some chuckles for how serious the job ahead was. It was nice you could still have fun together. Wow.
He's right.
Wow is right. It's good he decided to come back. It would have been so hard to find somebody else to work with us. And about that. So before you made it, me and Jude Baxter decided to meet up tomorrow morning. We have an appointment at his office, all penciled in. I'd like you to be there too, if you can. Tomorrow morning?
Sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Ward recommended it. That way there'd be as much time as possible afterwards to make what was planned happen. Sorry to spring it on you. It was Baxter's idea.
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's got a point. Not like we've got time to lose. How would that go? You had to wonder what happened last time you tried to do something early with Baxter appeared clear as morning sky in your mind's eye. Of course, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be there. Aye aye. Right, that's fine with me. This was a special moment to people who mattered to you. It was a point of most pride to be one small part of it. And then Miranda kindly pointed out how this get-together was in a restaurant and it could still be used for its intended purposes. It was a much appreciated suggestion. You spent a few minutes focused entirely on which delicious meal to have. No stakes, no pressure. The waiter returned each person to put in a request for dinner, and that was it. Menus were taken away, and you only needed to wait. In the relative privacy of the back corner table, Terry solidly dropped his fist onto the table as if calling a meeting. Oh, thank God.
Nah.
Baxter wasn't wearing black and white. I never thought I'd see the day.
Wow.
Baxter is a wedding planner? Miranda blurted out of her own non-sequitur with equal amazement. It makes sense he ended up as an event planner. He doesn't look right in other colors. It's so wrong. I would have guessed that, considering his own way of managing relationships, you teased. He had to let it go sometime, Terry. Maybe, but I wasn't ready for Baxter to move on. He hung his head woefully. Clearly, Mr. Ward should have thought about the person most impacted by his choice of style, Terry Brooke. He got a playful nudge on the shoulder, courtesy of his girlfriend. Anyway, I'm so happy it's almost your wedding. Starting shyly and building up more cheer, Miranda attempted to express her happiness for her big brothers and his soon-to-be husband.
So great.
It's so great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Randy. Oh, thank you, Miranda.
Agreed.
That's right. This is a time to celebrate. Congrats, my man and other man. Even though the final destination was many trials away, it was still shining on the horizon. You'd make it there. You were certain of that. Congratulations. Cheers to the couple on what they said. This is really happening. That's wild. You gave a thumbs up. You smiled over the two. Cheers to the couple. The conversation was abuzz with excitement for the event to come. For now, anything sounded possible. Food soon arrived and the topic switched again. You caught up on how things were going while each other overall, how your trip went, and all things besides the opaque man who had left early. You had a great time with friends glad to be back. When the meal was over, goodbyes were exchanged. Terry and Miranda had to go back to their apartment while Jude and Scott were going to take you to their house. The party planning committee broke into two teams after Terry was talked out of giving special code names to the group with the promise of reuniting early the next day. Tomorrow morning, the work would officially begin. At the house, your hosts gave you space to finish sorting your things along with your thoughts. You took clothes from the suitcase in total haze. It was dark outside, and indoors the artificial light blurred around the corners of your eyes. Eventually, your phone lit up repeatedly. Pulling it off the side table where it had been charging, you checked to see what came in. It was the promised group chat. Baxter had messaged you, but also Miranda, Terry, Jude, Scott could see it as well. Of course, they were the original members. Hello, welcome to the planning chat. All this is Baxter. Thank you again for assisting with the wedding prep. Our first meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m. You can call or text if anything comes up or if the appointment isn't possible. See you soon. The short stream of text ended with copy-paste of the exact address for his office. It was as pleasantly detached as you had expected from a stranger you'd met briefly once in the context of him providing a service for monetary compensation. But that wasn't the relationship you had. It could only be ignored, not erased. You hadn't even tried. You kept his number. After all this time, it had appeared again. Baxter's contact hadn't changed. The exact same as you'd gotten in the summer of 2016. God. You still had a history together. Your fingers began to move before your conscious mind caught up with what was happening. You opened the old logs. The last time Baxter had texted you personally was 5 years ago. Seeing the most recent message was nostalgic. It was during that absolutely unexpected trip to the mountain he let you join in on. I'm downstairs, the final line he ever sent. That had been quite the night. Baxter had snuck out to the lobby and let you share a private moment. For a moment, it was as if you and him were the only two people in the world. You felt like you'd seen who he really was in the light of the fireplace. You tried to be close with him again. You still liked him. You still wanted to be with him. You didn't know who he was anymore, but you were willing to learn. Being reunited was incredible luck. You wouldn't waste the chance. Things were different now. You just remained entirely professional with him. You weren't sure what to think on how to feel about the point. You still liked him, still wanted to be with him. Or you didn't know who he was anymore, but you were willing to learn. Being reunited was incredible luck. You won't waste that chance. Suddenly, an actually recent message popped up at the top of your screen. It was from Terry lamenting how the overly formal language was gone from Baxter's texting speech. That was so funny, he decreed. You dropped the phone and smiled. Looked like you weren't the only one who reminiscing about that silly black and white boy. He was gone and he was there. Baxter Ward was simply an inexorable part of your life. You called your big sister to talk about what had happened. You called Cove to let him know what was going on. You called Derek to inform him on the latest Baxter sighting. You decided to stop thinking about this all. Talk with the sister. From entirely abandoning contact to one of your most frequently used numbers, you hit Liz's name on your phone. Big sisters were made for moments like these. There was plenty to think about. The past seconds, the dial, the tone played. She wouldn't be attending the wedding. Miranda was your friend, only an acquaintance of hers. She had never met Jude Scott in person. Liz had no idea what was going on over here and and never would unless you said so. And so you would. Your screen changed, she answered.
Hey.
Hey, bro. What a sound for sore ears, even if she came right out of the gate with teasing you. You survived the journey? That's good to know. That's right. Hi, Liz. She laughed, and you could easily imagine her tossing her head back. Well, how's it going? The pleasantry was more complicated question, and she knew it. It was going, that was for sure, but you got straight to the core point. Jude and Scott, the couple I'm helping hire a wedding planner, and it was Baxter Ward. You inserted as much thrill and intrigue as possible into the rush statement. Her answer was a single flat word. Who? Baxter, the guy who stayed in the mean, not-so-grandparents' condo. I dated him one summer, remember? Monochrome man. The Victorian emo boy. Pepe Le Pew, you know. Baxter Ward, the super formal tourist who stayed on our street one year. Took me on a trip to the mountains. You threatened to call the police. That one. We're funny.
Seriously?
That loser? He's a wedding planner now? Yes. She processed this over a silent minute and concluded it was acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess who else would want to spend their time absorbed in all the fanciest of life's events than a guy who acted like every day was a grand ball? Is he still ridiculous? No, he's very professional. I didn't expect that. I can't even imagine that. I now regret not getting an invitation to that wedding. I ought to be there for this. It would have been nice to have you around. Yes, it would. You two siblings spent more time chatting, but eventually had to wrap things up. You had an early morning on the horizon. After a playful bye, little brother, Liz ended the call. You placed the phone down for good. It had been tempting to make another call, but you needed to get into bed. Rest was the priority. It had been an eventful enough day already. You finished your trip there. You came face to face with Baxter Ward after 5 years. And the real work hadn't even started yet. At 8:45 the next morning, the wedding team of 5 crowded into Baxter's office, and crowded was the word. The first challenge of your team faced was where exactly to sit. A single fox leather couch and scattered office chairs that went with desks were the available options. This space was not made for a crew of people, but considering normally hosted couples, you couldn't complain. Scott, Jude, and Miranda sat in a row, stuck on the couch like peas in a pod. Randy's legs were crossed over the cushions, so there was room for Terry on the ottoman. Stood armrests, desk chairs placed by the couch. I'm gonna steal a desk chair. It's a little crowded. Baxter didn't need 3 of those for himself, and you moved it back when you were done. It was fine. The planner hadn't been there to see the groggy game of musical chairs. You were still waiting for him even then. Scott stared at the time on his phone, flinching at every minute closer to 9. Jude squished against him and rubbed his fiance's back. As welcoming as the two had been, almost walked on eggshells to make sure nothing felt troubling, you were still aware how tight the deadline was. They had been feeling the pressure. Then, when the clock struck 9, there was a knock on the door. Confused glances ebbed from Miranda's into the couch down to your side, each person wondering if everybody else had heard that. Who's there? The door swung open wide in response. Good morning, everybody. There he was. Shoes, shiny suit, fresh pressed hair, swooped just so with not a strand out of place. Grin, granite sharp. He looked even more self-possessed than at the restaurant. Obviously, this was Baxter Ward, as perfectly capable of functioning before noon. The overly grand way of speaking, the difficult with mornings, the monochrome style, the desire to befriend everyone he met. None of his most recognizable characteristics seemed to have lasted. You had to wonder who was he really, if not all that. Hey, what's up? Good morning. Hi, hello, nice to see you. Morning, Baxter. You waved. You sat there quietly. Nice to see
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for coming. Scott scrambled to hide his phone with one hand and used the other to keep from losing his glasses in the haste. And something happened. Baxter's smile curved playfully and his eyes narrowed. You blinked rapidly, almost expecting white streaks to materialize in his hair. This is my office. There's a few other places I could go. Well, that attitude was familiar at least. Flawlessly poised, Baxter strode to the other half of the room and took a seat in the rolling office chair opposite the couch. He used the tip of his feet to smoothly twist the chair position so that it faced the group completely. No comment was made on the chair you'd commandeered. Now we know why we're here, I believe we should begin. Nods and low murmurs of agreement followed, until the entire room started from a sudden shout. Terry smacked himself against the side of his head. Oh wait! All eyes were on him. Terry beamed, keeping his attention squarely on Baxter. Since you've missed everything, I've got to tell you that I'm a guy.
Of course.
Of course I understand. Thank you for talking about that with me. Cool. He sprung forward on the footstep. Yeah. And I used Terry with a Y, not an I. Terry settled down from the second of rapid interjection. He rolled a hand through the hair as if to say, carry on. You know what? It wouldn't be Terry without the excitement and the drama. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, hit like. That way I know you're enjoying the content I'm making. Hit subscribe. That way YouTube brings you back Here's Happens Next. I won't take up any more of your time. Have a good day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.